r/ask Reddit. What went from totally cool to totally shit in the shortest time? A graduation ceremony tends to do that. Cool, I'm graduating. Watch me officially finish. Achievements, few hours later. Okay, now no one cares and I'm a college freshman entry-level employee unemployed. I thought you meant the actual ceremony, which can also apply. You walk in, you're in your cap and gown, the music is swelling. Now it's time to sit through a couple of, usually, boring speeches and hours of names you don't care about. All the speeches are the same for every graduation too. The classic "we will always remember these experiences" speech that every student will give. This is one of the greatest classes of all time speech from at least 3 different administrative staff. And we can't forget the ironic "you need to be different" speech that a minimum of 2 different people at least mention during a graduation ceremony. Email mailing lists, newsletters. Great. I can keep up with all the new stuff my favorite sites are selling or doing. Wait, why are they sending me 12 emails a day? The ones I really hate are the "you left something in your cart" emails. Like, I know, beach. It's because they initially have a lot of success with those cart reminder emails, and others, and they double down thinking more will surely be even better. We're helping. Then it goes nuts and all of a sudden they're sending customers tons of shitty emails a day and they don't pay attention when people unsubscribe. That means I don't want your crap emails anymore. Sigh. Unemployment. Cool. All the time to play video games and stuff. Shit. How do I pay my bills and why will no one hire me? No one will hire you because you have no experience. And you have no experience cause no one will hire you. I'm in my 50s and can assure you that it's been this way since the late 80s. Employer, OMG, you have great experience, but we can't hire you because you have no degree. Employer, OMG, you have a great education, but we can't hire you because you have no experience. Me, WTF. Social media, not all of it is shit, but much of it has gotten that way. 2008. This invention is incredible. It's going to change the world. 2019. I want to get off social media's wild ride. I thought it was getting old in 2008. I must be getting old. Joined Facebook in 2004. I think I pretty much stopped using it around 2009. Went on a date on Tinder. She was a beautiful older woman in her late 30s, looked my age. I'm 29. Hit it off great, we had a beer together and she asked if I wanted to step out to the patio for some air. It was a very nice day. As we walk out she sees this other guy at a table and says hi and talks for a few minutes, then comes back over to me. I ask her who was that? She responded my ex-boyfriend, but don't worry, he's just my coke dealer now. And kept going back to talk to him about getting money or that she would figure out something to cover the coke. Yeah, it was weird at it. We had only been on a date for about 15 minutes when she told me this. It's unusual for a coke user to look 10 years younger than her years. I know, that's why it threw me off even more. Literally, the ice cream that I ate, due to lactose intolerance. Anyone, you have to try this pizza. It's amazing. My lactose intolerant husband. I love pizza. I should eat less pizza. I'm lactose intolerant. My lactose intolerant husband eats pizza. Anyone? Oh. But won't that bother you later? My lactose intolerant husband. Probably. But it'll bother my wife more. Yik Yak was a social media type thing where you could anonymously post stuff that would be visible to people in your area. And people could upvote, downvote. It was fun to use and got pretty popular on my college campus before they ran it into the ground by changing the concept entirely. Lasted maybe 8 months all told. Requiring handles and phone verification was the dumbest idea ever for a platform designed around anonymous posting. It essentially just because a Facebook group for a college town, except it only worked on mobile. Unpopular opinion. I think Yik Yak was doomed from the beginning and nothing the owners did could have saved it. It was awesome at first, but there was always a huge problem lurking in the form of bomb threats, drug deals, defamation lawsuits and so on. It's just not realistic to have a large, completely anonymous user base saying shit the devs can't control but will inevitably be held accountable for. Also, they had to make money off the thing somehow, and it turns out anonymous college kids aren't worth much to advertisers. Google Glass. I think we have different definitions of totally cool. It was totally cool upon release, quickly went to shit. Pokemon Boy, remember that summer it first came out, wandering around the neighborhood and meeting so many neighbors also out finding Pokemon. I walked so much those first few weeks, and took my phone on runs to hatch eggs and stuff. I don't even remember what happened, but suddenly, we all stopped playing it at once. Was it an update? Or it crashed a lot? Can't remember. But within a month, it went from everyone is playing to completely disappeared. I hear it's still around, but it's definitely not what it had been. Closest we've ever come to world peace was that July. No, really, I feel like the whole world was a little brighter in those days. Mini disc players. Or those little cartridge players that would play like 30 seconds of a song, but you had to have all the little cartridges, or Video Now, Juice Box, or any of those useless plastic media products that you wanted as a kid before smartphones came out. I remember when those Clip-It cartridge things came out, and McDonald's had little sample ones in their Happy Meals. Mine was a 15-second clip of Britney Spears' Stronger, and the sound quality was awful. My mom would go to McDonald's on her lunch break and get a Happy Meal and give me the toy if it was cool. Eating too many edibles. OMG yes. You go from I don't feel anything to the world is melting. I need to go to the emergency room in like 5 seconds flat. Yep, I'm an advocate for cannabis, but the one very unpleasant experience I had involved eating too many edibles. Went from feeling nothing to how the faces on the TV look kind of 3D. That's cool to I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. Not fun. That week when Netflix changed its name to Qwikster, this really happened. They were trying to spin off their physical DVD rental side as a separate company called Qwikster, at a time when streaming was included with a subscription. People wanted one low price for both. Oh, man. I used to work for Netflix's customer service call center and I was on the early shift the day that shit show was announced. Now mind you, Netflix prided themselves on having short wait times for callers, at least in those days. IDK how it is now that they've outsourced. The call center was overstaffed on purpose. Usually there were no calls in queue and at worst it was 2-3 minutes in the afternoon. Managers would start to get antsy if queue got over 3 minutes. We had a 10+ minute queue the moment that press release went out, and 9 out of 10 people were pissed off and wanted to yell at someone. We'd only been told about it 30 minutes beforehand. Needless to say, it was a bad day. I'm gonna go with Skype. Game changer. Bringing video conferencing calling to the consumer world in mass. Then they were bought by Microsoft. Crashed faster than a 737 MAX. I work for a giant corporation. All of our office communication, both within each office and between other sites, is Skype based. I think they just started catering to corporations instead of consumers. Skype for Business is just Microsoft Lync with a new coat of Skype paint. They are phasing it out in favor of Teams anyway. Silly bands and especially fidget spinners, at least to kids. Silly bands were the absolute coolest thing at my elementary school for months. I finally got some as I was a shy girl with no friends who wanted to fit in. I wore them once and a week later nobody was wearing them. I still have those stupid little bands stashed somewhere, and a part of me thinks they're still a little cool. Whenever in like 2012 when everyone was saying every day I'm shuffling. Another one from 2012, Connie 2012. God, I miss 2012 despite how whack it was. Relationships. Holy duck, this person is amazing to holy duck, this person is a ducking a-hole. After 2 years I came to find out that my GF is riddled with crippling anxiety and depression and she was taught growing up to hide and bottle up emotions. So all this time she was suffering and I had no clue. It's tough to see her flip from happy-go-lucky to can't get out of bed for shit in a second and trying to say do everything I can think to help her the best I can. It's tough and it's getting tougher. For both of us. For her to handle it and for me to constantly be there. I promised myself I would never give up on her no matter what though, and I'm using that promise to myself and the love I have for her to push myself through so I just don't say duck it and leave. My best relationship to date was with a girl who, it turned out, was as lazy and depressed as me. We'd just lay in bed all day watching Netflix and talking and getting dirty. It didn't work out, but boy was that fun. Fidget spinners. I will admit, I still use my fidget toy. I think you win this one. These truly went from must have to hide this under your bed in less time than it took for your order to arrive from ThinkGeek. Jaime Lannister's character arc Mayo. TFW, you go on a long journey of self-betterment and realizing you've been a bad dude and are changing for the better, and then you jump on your horse in the middle of the night and eat yourself to a retarded death for confusing reasons. IDK. I've definitely seen the same thing happen in real life. A guy works hard to get over his crazy drug addicted ex, cleans up his life, finds new meaning, starts dating somebody who's really good for him, and then ruins it all in one drunken night of maybe I should text my ex. Personal growth isn't a linear process, and sometimes people relapse when they're under stress or self-sabotage when things are going too well. The big problem with the show is that the writers forgot that Westeros is huge and has a medieval level of technology, so Jaime couldn't just text Cersei and hop on the next plane to King's Landing for one last doomed hookup. It's hard to make an impulsive bad decision when it takes weeks or months to get anywhere, but the show abandoned realistic travel and communication times back in season 7. So Jaime is still hungover from the Winterfell victory celebration when he teleports to King's Landing to die with Cersei. When I was 16, I was going through the emo punk phase and I decided one day that I wanted to put colored streaks in my hair. So, I went to Walgreens and bought a semi-permanent red dye for dark hair, because I had no idea how to bleach my hair. I get home, apply the dye and think I'm going to look so awesome that it'll be worth it if my parents get pissed. I had no idea what I was doing, and instead of ending up with red streaks throughout my hair, I ended up with a huge red splotch at the top of my head because all dye clumped together or something. It looked terrible and was no longer worth getting in trouble for. The next morning I see my mom and she takes one look at my hair and bursts into laughter and tells me, "Whoa, you really ducked that up, didn't you?" She wasn't mad. She thought it was hilarious, and after a bit of teasing she went to Walgreens and got me a box of black hair dye so I could cover it up and not have to go outside looking like that. Your mother is a real lady, not beating who is already down. I guess nobody remembers Beanie Babies. I had around 200 as a kid and had the Beanie Babies magazine that valued all of them. My collection was worth a considerable amount. My parents recently stumbled upon the boxes containing my collection and we decided to see if they were still worth anything. Long story short, I received a lovely thank you letter from a kid who received some of my Beanie Babies for free. That guide was all bullshit. It was all made up numbers that people just decided were real with no evidence of sales to back them up. They basically said this one is worth $500 now, and everyone just said yup, $500 makes sense to me, but have no evidence that one ever sold for that price prior to it being in the guide. Orange is the new black. So what you're saying is that it's a Genji Cohen show? We'd had the exact same trajectory. They put way too many characters in it. The Riot season would only spend 5 minutes a episode advancing what little plot it had, with the rest of the episode giving each character their one line. Anthem granted. The totally cool part was the first reveal trailer, and the totally shit part was everything after that. That one live action trailer that was made was better than the whole game. The Walking Dead. Run from zombies. Find proper shelter with defendable location. Start drama with some crazy ass duck survivors. Abandon shelter and lose X amount of friends. Season finale. Repeat. Heelys, open bracket. Spelling. The shoes with wheel in the back. At least in my town they were the coolest thing ever, then a couple weeks later nothing. Heelys are still the shit. It's Ken Bone. Done. Reddit's very own Icarus. Lessons learned. Keep your private stuff private. Michael Avenatti. As soon as he started talking about running for president, that shit was over. Connie 2012. YouTube. It used to support the creators and now the YouTubers are being screwed out of their money if their product isn't ultra clean. Edit. Mr. Word. It's not that their product isn't ultra clean. It's that YouTube can't profit off of it. There are plenty of trash YouTubers that aren't clean at all, but because they draw in clicks or hide under the banner of a music channel, YouTube gives them a complete pass. Channels like Nerd City, Vsauce, Cody's Lab, and others don't pander to audiences, so they can't be monetized easily, and are threatened now with the adpocalypse. Yet there's Logan Paul. Shows sexual situations to children, violence, literal dead body, Rice Gum, James Charles and Jeffree Star. Lots of mainstream music producers. More sex and questionable content that doesn't get questioned because they bring in views. Sugar Ray. They were a heavy rock band with punk influences. They had a hit with Fly, which was almost a bonus track-like song on their album Flawed. It became so popular that they decided to switch their style to this super shitty pop. They even named their next album 1459, meaning they have had their 15 minutes of fame and are currently living the last second of it. Sugar Ray was pretty damn cool before all this. Then they were super shitty. More like Sugar Gay. Planking. Pushing my kid on the swing just for her to let go, fall off backwards, and break her collarbone, to go from pure enjoyment to excruciating pain in a split second. I haven't finished it, but according to Twitter, Games of Thrones went on a downhill really quickly. As I've said elsewhere, the plot points they hit weren't bad for Game of Thrones, but they were trying to get there in as straight of a line as possible, and that doesn't make for good storytelling, especially when the show had basically been the opposite for so long. It was, we have X characters and we need to make Y happen without the underlying support for Y. They needed a full season, preferably 2, and maybe even 3, but I don't think that meant to maneuver all the pieces in the direction they wanted in a natural fashion. They did not do that. You literally have 13 episodes between Daenerys leaving Essos and the end of the series. After spending 6 seasons with her in Essos, I think that's about the most illustrative you can be about how rushed this whole thing was. The conclusion wasn't bad necessarily, it was just so rushed. And that made it feel hollow in certain points. I won't spoil. Come out of left field. Rage Comics. Yes, they had been very popular at one point. Firefest, I bet everyone on that first plane and had that feeling hit them real quick. Season 8 of GOT. Gotta go with Kevin Spacey, from a respected, acclaimed actor to a predator faster than you can scream number. Fidget cubes. I was so stoked to get one off of Kickstarter, but it didn't live up to the hype. Many of the features are sticky, and it's too clicky to use in an office. Hoverboards. Everyone had them. Then they started exploding. Bethesda. Back in 2011 to 2012, Skyrim was the greatest game on the planet. The entire reason some of us were even alive. Pretty much overnight, Bethesda turned into just another AAA shitshow trying to milk gamers for every dime they can get. Segways. The marketing hype was phenomenal. It would change the face of the world. I'm actually amazed they are still around. They aren't totally shit, but they never materialized into we will need new laws for sidewalk usage because they will be everywhere. Huawei. SEGWAY. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.